She's been through storms, she's walked through fire, still moves with strength, not loud but higher. No spotlight needed, no grand applause. She stands for truth, she knows her cause, and she's not perfect, but she's real and sure. A woman of virtue who will endure.
Ladies of Virtue Endure. I am your host, L.O.V.E, and my two lovely co-hosts, Tanya and Crystal, are joining us today. Today's going to be sort of like a reflection. It's our past, present, and our future. So we're just going to have candid conversations about our past episodes, just talk about certain things. If there was something that we may have wanted to say while we were recording an episode, but after it was over, or it didn't come up in the recording, and after it was over, you remembered, or we remembered, and we're like, dang, I should have said this, or I wanted to say this and didn't. Also going over some viewer comments and just talking about those, and maybe answering some questions from our point of view versus their comments. So, ladies, we've done 33 episodes. Yeah, that's a lot of content out. Well, it's a lot for us. Just because, first podcast, I think it is. So, reflecting back, what do you feel was your most enjoyable episode that we discussed? Like, what was the topic that you enjoyed the most, and why?
If I had to pick one, I'd say the submission versus toxic femininity. I enjoyed that topic. That was a hot topic, and we kind of, the culture and society, we think we know what submission is, and we don't. And so it was just fun to peel back all that stuff and talk about it.
Mm-hmm. Right. Tanya, was that the show you did some shorts on?
I think so.
And we got a lot of views on the shorts. What was the one about the table thing? You're not the table.
Oh yeah, you are, ladies. You are not the table. Okay, right. What do you bring to the relationship? You are not the table. That was a really good. That was a good topic. That was fun. I think that a lot of them that we've done were fun for me, but I think it's because of some of the behind the scenes conversations that we have, either leading up to it or after it. It
Right.
just makes them really fun and really entertaining, but you guys don't get to see all of. We should have had a bloopers reel or something, because we had some times, but I think that was good. I liked the ones that we did when we had the guest on. I thought that those were good because it we kind of understand each other and our perspectives, but to hear from other ladies and their perspectives, or why they did or didn't do something, I think that those were fun for me as well.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I've enjoyed most of them.
I guess the one I enjoyed talking about was the abstinence one, and that just so happened to be our least viewed episode.
Not shocked.
Y'all better go watch that.
Y'all keep them legs closed.
And it's like, why? You would think people would be interested in being abstinent as a Christian, but
absolutely not.
I mean, I was just thinking, I'm living for God. My mind is transformed. Wouldn't that be something, I would want to hear more about?
No, that's gonna be the last thing I get. That's gonna be the last thing that I hold on to in this journey.
that flesh boy.
I'm gonna watch that one last.
Yeah, but we're gonna watch that at the end when I'm saved. Real saved.
No, I'm just getting my feet wet. I'm just getting into this.
Just starting this journey.
Yeah, it'll take some time. And I know that. I know that because it took me some time for that particular sin to fall off. But I think I'm so passionate about it because that was my stronghold. And it seems to be the stronghold for a lot of believers.
Yeah.
And I know it can be broken. I know it can, but it's a process, and you got to want to go through the process. If you're not willing or able to go through the process, then it's not going to be, you're still going to be walking in that sin because it's so good.
I think you're right. But you know what I think? I think that it is, I think that you said that if when you start walking with God, you want to do, you have this desire to want to do what he says. And I think it's more than just wanting to do what he says, but it's that you recognize his love. You recognize what he's done for you. You recognize like the sacrifice that he's made and how the things that he is asking us to refrain from, how it harms us, you know, how it leads to a path of destruction, how it impacts our life. And he really just wants what's best for us. He know. And so when I think the more you come to that awareness, there's just this, it's like, I really don't want to hurt the person that loves me more than anybody. I really don't want to break God's heart. You know, I really want to be all right with him, you know?
Right. That's true, Crystal. And then another thing that I saw, you really get to see it for what it really is. Like, the devil makes it feel like, oh my gosh, I just have to have this because it feels so good. And then once your mind is renewed, and if you were just like out there, you know, maybe multiple partners and stuff, you're just like, oh my gosh, I did that to my body. I just gave up my body when I was, you know, precious to God. You see yourself as that holy temple, and not just anybody can just be inside that temple, if you know what I mean. It's only God, you know, and through marriage and stuff like that. So yeah, that was my favorite one.
Yeah.
So was there an episode that made you feel uncomfortable in discussing it? Maybe some tight moments that are like, oh my gosh, I don't know.
I don't think there's a topic that made me necessarily feel uncomfortable to discuss, but perhaps one that I remember that kind of challenged me, or, you know, the Lord was like, all right, now, girl, get yourself together, was the episode where we talked about living out of lack, or it was living in lack, healing the poverty mindset. And so that was the one where I feel like, you know, the Lord kind of, I feel like it was an episode where the enemy was just kind of trying to make me feel defeated. And the Lord just kind of stepped in and was like, no, this is awareness. This is awareness so that you have the tools and, you know, the things that you need to move differently. Because I mean, that's how God does. That's how he shares his wisdom with us. You know, he brings it to the forefront of our mind. We become aware of something and we're like, oh, wait, okay. Yeah, no, let me do something different. You know, our perspective changes. And so yeah, that one I think was the one that did that for me.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
I don't have one. I didn't feel uncomfortable with any. I actually loved them all. I really did. I thought they were interesting. Now, I would say that there were times where I felt it was a challenge to come up with something to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do the people need? What's relevant? What can
Right.
we talk about and really explore? So that was more of a challenge for me than us actually talking. So
Yeah.
once we actually got the topic, and I'm like, okay, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed them. I enjoyed most of them. I don't think I had a topic that I was like,
Okay. Well, mine
uh-oh.
mine was the life choice and healing, the real conversation. And I don't know. I still, honestly, it touched my heart in a way where I had to be honest. Now I could have sat up here and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm pro life or whatever," but I couldn't because God in me wouldn't allow me to. This show is about integrity, so I had to be honest with my heart, and that's how I felt. Like, and I kind of still feel that way, where I'm across the fence on certain things, just because of. And we didn't have an opportunity to go deeper into the things that surround it. But, when I think about the children that are born and, the parents don't want them and they're forced in foster homes and then they get abused and, their life is so miserable. And it's like, huh. So you have that angle. And then, so that was uncomfortable for me because it was just like, are you going to tell the truth of how you really feel, or are you just going to go with the flow? And I just had to stand how I feel. And that is, I believe that, I'm on the fence. People have a choice in pro-life. I don't know how else other to say that. But one of the viewer comments, and people have different perspectives on these kind of things. But one of the comments was, so, like, if you're in the military and you take that oath to join the military, and you take that oath to fight for your country, and you're killing someone, and because that's your oath that you're fighting for your country, what's the difference? Because you're still killing an innocent person who is born. So that was kind of one of the questions that were posed to me, and I was just like, y'all have any comment on that?
Yeah, I would take us back to the Bible, where when God specifically gave them instruction for war at certain times in certain areas. I think that war is different than killing a child, a baby, right? And first, for the military, everybody that takes the oath in the military isn't taking an oath to kill. An administrator, they don't even have access to a weapon, right? That's not what they do. They're doing paperwork. So I think that the job that you do in the military, because we're using the military as a broad title, I think we have to look at that. I think, again, we can go back to the Bible. That's the foundation for me. What does the Bible say? The Bible specifically talks about war. It talks about Israel in war, right? And so if that's the case, then we would have to say that God is wrong in war. But it doesn't in the Bible talk about them killing unborn children. It doesn't give permission for that in the Bible. So that's would be my stance on that. And I just want to say, as you were talking about sitting on the fence, it made me think of what Pastor Phil preached.
Yeah, I listened to that
the other day. Who said, "Well, the enemy owns the fence."
Mm-hmm. But I guarantee you I'm going with God, because I really don't feel that thing. I'm not going to tell someone to have an abortion, okay? Because I believe now that that's not right. But I also believe, just like with salvation, you have a choice. So that's why I guess I say that, because of the choice factor in it. Yeah. You have any comment, Crystal?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. that one. So I just had to revisit that one because that was one of the ones that were, I'm like, why in the world? But okay, I respect Pastor Allison, and I'm glad she did it because it was a very beautiful testimony. But couldn't I just have listened? But I couldn't. I had to express my feelings because that's what the show is about. Having these hard conversations and not judging someone for how they feel, because we're going on this journey together.
Right.
So what was the most impactful episode for you that made you be like, maybe thought-provoking and maybe learning something you didn't know or anything like that, or a perspective that was changed on something that you might have felt one way, and because of the show, it shifted your perspective?
I'll say the show that you were just previously talking about, where we talked about pro-life and pro-choice, because for me it kind of shifted my perspective, where I had this view that it was so, when I thought about it later, I was like, girl, what? Okay. But if you're pro-life, then you outside with you pro you outside
the clinics protesting.
And if you pro-choice, like you on the other side, and you just like, I mean, it's just this full-on war against the sides, and it's not even that. It is, for me, it provided the just having the conversation, simply having the conversation,
right,
gave me it gave me the opportunity to say, okay, this is where I stand. And it's not that, but it's this is where I stand. I'm pro-life. Like I stand with what the Bible says about life. I'm not the giver. We are not the giver or taker of life. God is the one who opens the womb. That's where I stand. That's my stance. It doesn't mean that I'm going to condemn people whose choices is pro-choice, so.
Yeah. Something that changed my perspective.
Probably not.
Not at all. Something that was eye-opening to me, though, was when we had Enid on the show, right? Because I've always had my views on the sororities and the fraternities and things of that nature, but she kind of helped me walk through like the whys and what that looks like, and how you can think that you're doing what God is calling you to do and things of that nature. So she kind of opened my eyes for that, and which I think brings room for grace, right? To say, okay, I can understand why somebody may want to do that. She didn't have any sisters. She wanted a sisterhood and all of those different things, which makes sense to me. I had 2 sisters, and I'm like, getting bullied by these 2 sisters. Why would anybody want sisterhood? No, stop. Right. but it makes sense, and so I think that was for me a episode that I was like, okay, because a lot of the things you hear about, a lot of the things, but I've never been in that situation, so I don't know. I didn't know some of the things that they did and all of that stuff. So that was eye opening for me.
Yeah, I would have to agree with Tanya too, because it made me understand sororities and fraternities better. Understanding, like you said, Tanya, the depth of it and why it's wrong and the oath factors and things like that. Because I have a son that's a Kappa, and I tried to share the video with him, and I don't even know if he watched it or not, because I didn't hear no comment or anything. But what she said about it, and I can kind of see it evident in his life, because like when he's like fresh out of college and everything, he's on top of the world, and then things start trickling down and happening, and it's not quite so much on top of the world anymore. So I sent him our video and a couple of more videos on denouncing. And I said, this may be why you're in the situation you are, you know. And he's like, what do you mean? I said, just watch it, you know, thinking that maybe y'all already know if I have to come, how I have to come, because, you know, that's the mindsets. I have to come hard because of their mindsets. But if he watched it, praise the Lord. If he didn't, at least I've done my part, you know. But yeah, that was my most impactful episode. So another one of our least viewed episodes was building the altar for God to move. Not a whole lot of people watch that one either. Do you guys know or kind of think or have any thoughts on why that didn't pique anyone's interest?
Yeah, it's the same as abstinence. Don't nobody want to build no altar. Okay, look, I'm gonna do a lot of things, but you want me to first not have no sex, and then you want me to build altars, meaning I got to give stuff up and lay stuff down and all the things. Like, who wants to do that? But I think that a lot of it is because we don't have a good understanding. I believe that most of our understanding comes from the world and not from biblical principles. And I think that you said it, Lorraine, like you can learn how to be abstinent and have joy in abstinence, right? Because this is what the enemy does. He wants to make you think that man is going to have such great sex that it's going to blow your mind. And the reality is,
absolutely not.
Baby. The reality is you're going to get in them sheets with that man. He going to be all about 5 seconds, right? Or you going to be about 5 seconds. Somebody ain't going to hit the mark, right? And so you're disappointed. He's disappointed because it wasn't the right connection. Now, when it is the right connection, it is awesome and it is amazing and it is all that in a bag of chips, right? But I'm not realistically, I'm not saying that doesn't happen with somebody that we're not supposed to be with too. We know that does, but the enemy wants to embellish it, right? And that's not always the case. So that's what we're up against. And then with the altars, it's like me building an altar means I have to give up everything that I like, everything fun. I gotta wear dresses down to my ankles. I gotta wear, shirts up like this. I can't watch no movies. I can't watch no TV. I can't have no fun. And that's not the case. Building the altar is just giving yourself to God. It's really sacrificing yourself, your will for his will. And the world tells us that that's wrong. But if we really look at it biblically, it's the best thing that we can ever do. So I think those two topics are almost synonymous because it's us sacrificing self for God. And I don't think that we want to do that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, dying to the flesh. Any comment, Crystal?
I mean, I agree with what Tanya said. We don't, that's the biggest issue I think that we have. We don't want to deny ourselves. My personal opinion is that on this journey as a believer of Christ, that is one of the hardest things to do, deny yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, because we live in this flesh, and our comfortability, the things we practice day to day, things coming to us fast, instant gratification. We don't know what is delayed gratification. What is that? We want what we want right now and hurry up and give me what I want, like, so it's like we do not enjoy denying ourselves. We do not enjoy picking up our cross. And even when we choose to do it, it doesn't feel good. But when you understand that when you get to where God is pruning you to, and you get just a little taste of what it feels like, what it means to, live in peace and live in the covering of God, in the favor of God, in the peace of God, you understand that this is better than anything else that I could ever. If I can't have you, God, if you're not here in this, if you're not guiding me and leading me, orchestrating all the things, I'm gonna mess it up. So I need you.
Right.
When you have that revelation that is nothing else better, you start to get in the understanding that, okay, like Tanya said, the things that the enemy tries to embellish it's really just a lie,
Yeah, that reminds me of one of the episodes we did on informed versus transformed, or vice versa. How the world makes it seem like it's okay to love God and it's okay to serve God, but you can serve your flesh at the same time. And that's, like Tanya said, the culture of, the world. The devil doesn't mind you going to church. The devil doesn't mind you like being in church serving God or doing whatever. But when you start getting in that word, that's when the distractions come, because he knows the word is going to renew your mind and transform you. So he's very crafty in what he does. And he makes you think everybody loves Jesus. Not everybody. You have people that don't, and they're okay with it. But if you think of most of the world, they love Jesus, they love God, but they don't want to live for him by obeying him and honoring his word. So yeah, that
and I mean, that's the world's view of love. We can say I love somebody and love be that I'm grateful that he has, saved me and that he's made a way. I know this was nobody but God, but the Bible says that obedience is how you show that you love him.
Right. Yep, that's true. One of our episodes was about the dress and how Christian women and even men should be dressed appropriately while in church or just out in general as a woman or man of God. One of the viewers comments, because the pictures that were posted were more of an ethnic culture, and they wanted to know why we didn't post any pictures of, say, other ethnicities, so to speak. You guys have anything to say about that?
Crystal?
Oh my. Well, I mean, so our audience is women. And I mean, we posted, we used women of color probably because we're women of color. And usually we connect and relate, or we identify with people who look like us. I mean, that's kind of like a normal human thing.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, it's for all women, because I mean, there are women who, when we talk about the dress, there are women in every ethnicity and in every ethnic group that we can find a picture of that dresses inappropriately or not modest. But yeah, I mean, that can go, there's so many things to uncover with that, because I'm gonna leave it. That's all I have.
Tanya, you got any comment?
I concur.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say I was the one.
Yeah, I mean, it is
no good.
it is what it is. Here's the reality. If we had to, anybody that knows me knows I'm not about appeasing anybody. I'm sorry. I'm just not. I'm if I type up women dressed crazy in the church and 10 black women come up, I'm probably going to use the first 5 pictures I see.
Yep.
I don't have the time or the energy to search out every ethnicity and a woman from every ethnicity, because here's the thing. If I get a black woman, I can say it's because I'm black. If I get a white woman, now I got to get an Asian woman. I got to get a Hispanic woman. I got to get it. So now I got to get 50,000 pictures from every woman of every ethnicity, and don't nobody got no time for that.
Right.
So my thought process is, it is never our intent to offend anybody. It's never our intent to single someone out. I think the point of that particular podcast was the attire, not the color of the woman.
Right.
So the point is, ladies, look at, and men, because men, if you buying your wife this outfit and it's skin tight, then maybe that could be a problem too. But hey, you like it, I love it. But women, if this is what you have on, regardless of what color you are, regardless of what shape you are, regardless of what size you are, if we can see your insides from the outside, something is wrong, right? We need a new outfit.
Right.
Whether you're black, whether you're white, whether you're Hispanic, whether you're Asian, right, or anything else. That, I think, was the purpose of the pictures, and not a race thing. It wasn't a race thing. It had nothing to do with race. I don't even think we realized that all the ladies were black, because that wasn't our intent until it was brought up, and we were like, oh wow, okay, because the intent was the outfit, not the person.
Right.
Not even the shape, not even the body shape.
Right.
Because the reality is, just because you're skinny don't mean that you can wear whatever you want to wear.
Right.
Right. Yeah, I was the one who picked the pictures, and I can honestly say, in my mind, while picking the pictures, I wasn't looking at race. I was just looking at the pictures. Like you said, you Google pictures of inappropriate dress in the pulpit, and you just pick what comes out. I'm like, oh, she's black or she's white. I wasn't thinking. I was just getting content for the show. And it was just all about just appropriate dress in the church or outside the church, how you should try to wear the modest clothing to represent Christ. Mm-hmm. Okay. Did you guys receive any viewer comments or anything like that? No? I'm the only one that actually talked to people about the show. They come to me and say, hey, da, 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 da. Nobody came to you guys who watched the show and said anything? Not one?
I might not be that approachable. I don't know. Nobody. I mean, people have said that they watched it, but nobody said anything about it. Like, oh, it's good, or why would you say that? Nobody. There's like...
Nobody with you, Crystal?
No, I mean, people have said that they watched it, and they enjoyed the show, but no comments like that.
No comments. No. Oh well. Okay. So throughout the show, from the first episode, do any of you, or have you guys experienced any personal growth within yourself?
I'll say yes, actually. Being more comfortable or confident in who God has made me to be while I'm speaking in front of people or speaking to people. Just authentically showing up. Mm-hmm. I've grown a lot in that space. And I don't know if it's something that can be seen externally, but internally there's a piece that I've never experienced, because that's actually an area that I have struggled in, like since childhood, like speaking in front of people, or just being in front of people, period. I don't just send me to the back. I could be in the background. I'm good back there. But just becoming more comfortable with, first of all, speaking in front of people, and then authentically showing up as myself. I don't have to say it like somebody else or do it like somebody else. You're gonna get what I got, and that's what I got.
Right. Mm-hmm. Tanya.
Yeah, I would say awareness, just a greater awareness. And then also, there was I think that the show has caused a deeper dig, because when we're on the show, you never really know what you're gonna get or what you're gonna get asked. I know that people think that maybe we have all the questions, like only the person that's asking the questions has all the questions, and then they might just. I know for me, I have the questions, and then something will pop in my head, and then we gonna ask that question too. So nobody has all the questions. So I think that being able to be spontaneous, like, hey, what is this? And I'm like, I didn't look that up. So it causes you to have to be ye ready.
Yes, indeed.
So yeah,
Absolutely.
that was it.
Mm-hmm. Mine would be, like Crystal said, being in front of the camera. I noticed my growth because I started off nervous and scared to talk, not scared, but nervously speaking. And so I believe I grew in that aspect. And the thought provoking, the questions, like Tanya said, digging deep inside and really thinking about, okay, what do I really feel about this? Or what do I really feel about that? And just having those genuine conversations authentically, without, it's like Crystal said, you get what you get because it's authentic, showing up authentically. Okay, so were there any specific topics that you guys wanted to talk about, but we didn't have an opportunity to talk about them?
I don't know if we actually like really dived into it. I think we mentioned it in a few episodes, but boundaries. I felt like that was going to be a really good. I was ready for my sister to talk to us about some boundaries. Take us there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Come on over to tea time for those boundaries.
Yeah, y'all kept talking about boundaries, and I'm just like, yeah. Yeah, like you said, we did mention it, and I was like, I don't have too many boundaries, but I need them, kind of thing. But yeah, I agree. Maybe boundaries. Tanya?
That'll be a cameo. Maybe we'll have a cameo boundary. I think that I was able to squeeze mine in there the last couple. So,
You wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to talk about the ones that the last few, the sorority, the pro-life, pro-choice. I don't think I had too many more that I wanted to talk about that we didn't talk about. I think that was it.
I think mine was the same sex attraction. I don't think we touched that.
Yeah, that's true.
And I wanted to bring it up, but it's a kind of touchy topic. And I don't know if I was scared to discuss it or that God didn't want me to talk about it. I don't know. But best believe future shows, he just may have me talk about it. So I don't know.
So are we for or against? Let's talk about it.
We're here.
Against. You already know that, girl. Out of our sidebar conversations, you already know that. That one I am not on the fence about. I'm not on the fence about that or transgenderism or whatever. Gender identity, you're a boy, you're a girl. That's it. There ain't no I'm both I'm gonna not talk about any more of that. But yeah, that would have been one I would have talked about that I wanted
It would
to.
have been a good one.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is the one major takeaway or lesson you hope our listeners carry with them with the end of this season?
I would say a major takeaway or lesson is I think what both you and Crystal said about what you learned about yourself during this journey. Be authentically you. Right? We are many different women on this platform, whether it's women watching us. We all have different thoughts, different views, different opinions, and that's okay. I would say get into your word and understand what God is calling you to, who He's calling you to be, all of those things, and stand on that. Um, don't apologize for who you are. I know that sometimes I can be abrasive, sometimes I could be loving, sometimes I could be pushy and everything in between. And at the end of the day, I don't apologize for who I am. Right? I know that I love hard. I know that my heart is in the right place, and although God is still working on me, I'm going to be me. And so I would challenge every listener to be you. Be authentically who God has created you to be. And hopefully, something that we have said sparked a desire for you to go deeper with him, right? Has sparked a desire for you to look at your own thoughts and your own views and to challenge yourself. It's okay to challenge yourself, but not in the sense of wanting to be like someone else, right? Challenge yourself to be the best you that God has created.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I second what Tanya said about being authentically you. There's nobody else like you, so be you. The other takeaway is, sis, read your Bible, please, please read your Bible. Seriously, y'all, like get in the Word, know the Word for yourself, so that you understand what God is, who God is, and you know what it means to be a believer and a follower of Christ. Read your Bible, spend time studying scripture, spend time with God, and be in community. Like really find, create, connect with a community, with people that allow in a space where you're able to be you, and surround yourself with people who are supporting you and helping you to grow and be who God has called you to be. It is extremely important. I think it's downplayed often because of hurt or whatever the case may be. Community is extremely important. We need each other. So
yeah, absolutely. The reason why God gave me this vision for the show was to have these conversations that we've had in all the episodes, because they might have been in your mind, they might have been in your heart, but you can't bring it out to somebody that you could trust to talk about these things. And so we created a platform to have these discussions. And what I want you to take away from this first season is to be yourself on your journey with God. Draw closer to him, like Crystal said, by reading your word. Because if you truly love God and you're truly doing the things that you're doing, God's going to show you where you need to be, what you need to give up, what he might not be pleased with, what he is pleased with. But it's a journey, and that's why it's called Ladies of Virtue Endure, because you may fall down, you got to get back up, but you're still running the race. You might not be perfect, but you're still running the race because you're not giving up on yourself, and then you're not giving up on God. So you can't take anything else. Just what is like, love God, love yourself, and love others. That's like the motto for the Ladies of Virtue show. Well, I got one more question. This is kind of like a little, I should have asked this before I asked the other one. But so when we came together, we didn't know each other that well. Well, Tanya and Crystal did, but I really didn't know you guys very well. I asked you, asked you, well, I told you about the vision God had, and you guys agreed and did this. So I want to know, what do you feel of each other in being host of the podcast? How do you see Crystal? How do you see Tanya? How do you see me as sisters on the Ladies of Virtue Enduring?
So I'm making sure I understand it correctly. You're asking how we view each other as hosts on the podcast, or
just women of God. We're Ladies of Virtue Enduring. How it can be on the podcast. It can be just what we know of each other. How do you view one another as sisters?
Me personally, I have a lot of respect for both of you all. And you all have I mean, Tanya is, like you said before, we already knew each other, and so she like my sister, like she on my emergency contact. So she don't even know some of them she on, but she on. So, but you know, I'm honored, and I've gained a sister with you, and I feel honored. I do. I don't take it lightly. I think that you all are beautiful inside and out. I love who you are. I love how God does his good thing when he brings us together in all of our differences and unites us. I love it. Those things, like, I'm all about community. I love people. I don't always like being around them, but I love people. My heart is for people. And so I really enjoy, I enjoy experiencing God bringing together and those divine connections. And I feel like I know that I have that with you all. And so I love how we all have different personalities. Sometimes we agree, and sometimes we don't really. Our views don't really match. But we come and we present. We have good conversation on and off camera, and I love it. I enjoy it every time. And so I feel blessed to have been a part of this journey with you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would echo that. I think that you hit the nail on the head, Lorraine, when you said sisters, right? You're right. When we started the journey, we might not have known as much as we know now, right? But being able to on camera listen to the different thought processes, the different questions, just the different heart postures, I thought that was very enlightening. And then off camera, like I said, I think we should have actually had a blooper reel. We probably should have put the camera up in Car Chronicles, right? Because just the laughs and stuff, and I think that those are the times that are more precious. It's not work, it's fun, but there's I think a little bit of a different mission. And then when we're off camera, it's just like, okay, let your hair down, let's talk, let's cry, let's be like, no girl, you said what? No, right? But it's done in a way that is it's not judgmental or threatening, if that makes any sense. We can be who we are, and hey, this is what I'm struggling with. Well, this is what I'm struggling with. And I have to always remind myself is that um I think sometimes we can get it twisted thinking that if I don't talk to this person all the time, that we might not be that close. And sometimes that might feel real, but the reality is if I can call you or if we can meet up and have fun and it still be good times, and I think that's sisterhood. So I'm anybody that truly knows me. I know the outside might be a little, but anybody that truly knows me knows that I absolutely love and adore community and tribe. That is my thing. It really is. And so I love when I'm able to add somebody new to the tribe, right? And so, Lorraine, you the new addition to the tribe, girl. You know, you in the tribe now.
I'm in the tribe.
So, so for me, that's family for me. I don't think that family is just those people that you know, that I share bloodline with, although that's family, but it's those that we're close to and connected to, and that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for you beautiful women, you have your perspective and how you bring your perspective. I really learned a lot from you guys. I'm just like basic in how I speak and stuff like that. And I think with Tanya, she puts that little clinical spin on things and just like makes it more, I don't know, professional. I don't know, but she just has that. She just knows how to speak more. Crystal, the same way. You both are strong women. Both are very strong women, and I admire that. And I believe you brought to the podcast what needed to be brought to the podcast. And it's just a beautiful blend of women on the journey for Christ, Tanya's really opinionated and strong on her opinion, and she's going to deliver that just the way she feels inside. And she's strong too, especially more so, I think, on the what you're learning about your time and stuff, and nobody's going to cross your time and stuff like that. Your boundaries, setting your boundaries. And I like the fact that, you're gaining strength on that and you speak it because you know where you stand on that. And I think that is very admirable of you to not like hide that, because you could think it in your mind and then not let people know. And then when it does happen, it comes out the wrong way. But
no, she can't.
But that's what I'm saying. I see that. I'm like, wow. Okay. Like when she's saying that, I'm like, wow. I don't know if I would have said it like that, but okay, I get it. Her time. You know what I'm saying? So I like that. I like the beauty of how each of us deliver things, and each of our passions are different, but on the same journey for Christ. So this is going to end our first season. Season 2 will be back on July 16th, but it'll probably be a little different than how it is this season because life goes on. And I want to thank you and Crystal and Tanya, because we've done this for 9 months straight. I might have had a Christmas break or something and a Thanksgiving break, but 9 months of our time. First, we started live on Thursdays, and then we moved to Sundays to record. to produce for the shows on Thursday. And it's been a lot on our schedules. And I can't even say mine, but yeah, I can. But more so Tanya and Crystal, because they have families and things like that. I'm single. I can whittle in whichever way. But I appreciate the time that you guys took for the recordings and just doing the podcast in itself. You guys are amazing for doing that and just keeping up. You know, when I think, I know they're tired, I know they don't want to do this, but y'all still hung in there. But as we know, seasons change and everybody has a different journey to go on. So Tanya and Crystal will not be joining on the second season, but I believe they'll agree to make some cameo appearances because, you know, what's love without Tanya and Crystal every now and then? But no, I am going to continue the podcast. I'm not quite sure how the platform God is going to use me on, but it's coming back for a second season, no doubt. But so they've said what they had to say to you. Anything else y'all want to say before I close out?
No.
No?
We love y'all. Thank you for supporting.
Yeah, we need a much needed break, even myself. So July 16th is when I'll be back on again. So you guys can rest a little bit. But until then, stay anchored in God, led by love, and sustained in virtue. We love you. Thank you for listening. Good night.
Night.
She's been through storms, she's walked through fire, still moves with strength, not loud but higher, no spotlight needed, no grand applause, she stands for truth, she knows her cause, and she's not perfect, but she's real and sure, a woman of virtue who will endure.